All right, everybody. We're just making sure that we're live, coming to you right now on SpeakerChat. So just give us half a second to check that out. I want to make sure. Those of you that are joining us live, go ahead and underneath in the comments, say hi and let us know where you are from. And we will be checking back as we go through this interview, which is very cool. I'm really excited to be talking to you, Lorraine, today. So
Glad to be here.
And anyone that is, I'm going to go there to make sure we don't talk too loudly here. Anyone that is watching us in any of our members areas, we invite you to come to the Facebook page to make the interaction a lot easier. And I see the video here, so we're getting good.
Glad to be here.
All right. I'll make sure that there we go. Turn that off so I don't have to listen to myself talk. All right, let's get started. This is Tracy Eman with Women Speakers Association, and today I'm really excited to have Lorraine Lane join me. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Glad to be here, Tracy. Thank you.
We are talking about a real timely, subject. Sorry, I actually had a couple days off, so I have to excuse my mouth. And really, there's so many people that are feeling isolation. Things change. All our plans kind of went out the window, basically. And so your topic today, be heard and be seen during quarantine, is just best timing ever.
Thank you. Yeah, I know a lot of people are experiencing that, that aloneness, that isolation.
Yeah, it's hard not to, I think. But then we're going to talk about different ways that we can kind of sort of make a most of this. And but I want to start with first reading your bio. So I want people to learn more about you. So Lorraine's career includes 15 years as a training and development manager in the high-tech industry and 20 years as a small business owner. She provides executive and business coaching clients, helping them become leaders in their respective organizations. She is a results-driven, and she encourages people to play full out, to enjoy the game and expecting to win. And she is also one of our brand new global business connectors. So that's incredible. We'll have to touch on that a little bit at the end as well, because I think that kind of rolls nicely into how do we keep connected and how do we feel like we're not so isolated. So before we get started, we're gonna go through some questions. But if anyone is feeling that isolation, go ahead and put that in the comments below, and we'll come back and read it in between the questions. Okay, so let's get started. So what are some of the actions that you recommend for maintaining those all-important connections?
Yeah, so what happened with a lot of us, most of us, is that, you were out meeting people, having coffee, having lunch, going to events and so on. And then, bang, 5 months ago, we shut down. And at first, people were kind of excited, and Zoom was here at the right time, and other platforms that are being used to interact. And people are saying they want to get back together. They want to connect with people. They miss that human interaction. I just got off the phone a little while ago with someone who was talking about that, what is it that we want? We want that connection. People are saying they're getting a lot of business online, but they're missing that interaction with people that, I want to get a hug, right?
Yeah.
So I think we need to think about ways that we can stay connected and at the same time realize that our world is never going to go back to what it was in January. So how are we going to adjust, adapt, and make it work for other people and for ourselves? So I think that's the important thing to look at here. How do I keep connecting? How do I keep expanding my network? How do I make that work? So I have some ideas about that. We can talk about that as we go along.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know you're talking about different ways that we can reach out to each other because you're right. It's interesting, right? Not everybody maybe thought they were a hugger, but now that you're not allowed to hug anybody, you gotta be like, 6 feet apart. It's
Yeah, you got to have long arms.
right. The ones with the hockey sticks and the hands on the end, right?
Oh, that's an idea.
Yeah. A little glitchy, but so, if we are looking at like how do we build and grow our network during this time of quarantine? Like what are some ideas, steps, different things that we can do? Like you mentioned, Zoom, has been around for a number of years, but definitely has, come into the mainstream for everybody now. And
Yeah.
thank goodness for Zoom and other programs like it. But
Yeah.
how do we make the most of that new way of interacting?
Right. So networking is and making connections is all about relationships, right? Building relationships and letting people get to know, like, and trust you, because that's, the mantra of networkers. So nurturing those relationships, it's the same thing. How do you nurture those relationships? So I encourage my clients to have VCDs, virtual coffee dates.
Mhm.
So just because you can't meet at the local coffee shop doesn't mean that you can't meet someone for coffee, right? So I encourage them, think about to do that and have a coffee, have a 10-minute meeting, have a 15-minute meeting. It doesn't have to be hours. Um, and just calling people to check on them, see how they are, how are you doing? And I am doing that on a regular basis. Somebody comes to mind, I think, haven't talked to that person in a while, check in. And it's amazing when I call the person that just came to mind, how they needed somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
And so I think we need to do that. And what I'm encouraging people to do is make a list of all your acquaintances, your connections, and so on, and look, who haven't you talked to for a while? Who haven't you reached out to for a while? And, we carry these things around with us everywhere, and make a use of it. Make it work for you.
So you're thinking, I mean, really, we don't need to overthink the reason why we're connecting. Like you said, like that coffee break, you can control the coffee you're drinking if you're drinking it at home. So look at the bonus on that, especially if you make yourself really good coffee. But
Right.
yeah, and I mean, you had mentioned, I think we were talking a little bit before too, right? That, there's like online networking events that you can also take part in,
Mm-hmm.
allows that relationship to continue to build.
Right, right. So what I encourage is have a strategy, So I'm hearing people who are on these networking groups that meet 2 and 3 times a day.
Oh,
That to me is a little overdoing. I don't have time to do that. So be more strategic about how you network, as you would if we were doing live events. Could you go to 10 networking events a week if we were doing it live?
mm,
Would that be a good use of your time? If you're online doing those networking events, think about how much is that helping your business? Are you generating revenue? And that's the purpose of networking, right? To build the relationships that eventually lead to business. So
mhm.
if you're networking and it never leads to business, then I work with my clients to say, you've got to do something that's more useful and beneficial to your business. If you have all this time to spend, let's do something that's going to work. So make the networking that you do work for you and work for your business. So if you're attending a networking event, take note of the people that are there. What would you do if it was an in-person event? You'd reach out to somebody. You'd have a one-on-one with somebody. Do that virtually. And if it's always the same people and you're not meeting people, then let's develop a strategy for you to meet some new people. You won't get much business from the same 12 to 15 people who meet every day. that isn't going to grow your business. You need to expand your reach and your visibility. You know, I say be seen, be heard. And how are you going to do that? So think about asking somebody to introduce you or have a threesome, a Zoom threesome.
Yeah.
That's very useful to introduce somebody. So there are things that you can do that will expand your business.
I love that you mentioned, like, think about it when you're normally networking, when you're networking in person, what did you do? A lot of it is building that relationship, but really, truly, it's the follow-up afterwards that you normally did that on the phone anyway, or
Yes.
you might have had a virtual Zoom meeting with that person. So, you want to continue to really not have it be a time waster for either of you or the group of yours. You want to have something where you're going to learn and see, either you're looking for services that can assist you in meeting your clients' needs, or you have ideas for people. But when it starts to feel a little stagnant, maybe don't like totally remove yourself from it, because you still want to nurture those relationships. But
Yes.
yes, nurturing it 3 times a day, depending on what you're doing, it may not be as beneficial to you as, picking whatever 2 to 3
Right.
networking meetings a week, right? Or something along
Yes.
those lines.
Yeah. If the 10 meetings a week is generating lots of revenue for you, then go for it. Do even more. But if
Yeah.
it isn't, then let's step back and take a look at what you're doing, right?
Yeah. Well, that's
So,
perfect.
I have restarted a practice that I had of sending out a thank you note every day to somebody. And it's a practice that I kind of resurrected for myself. Every day, something goes in the mail to somebody. And either it's something that is just a thank you for something that they did, or sometimes it's an article that I saw that I know they will be interested in. And right now on my kitchen counter is a note to somebody. There was a cartoon, Dilbert cartoon, that I know she will absolutely love. So I cut it out of the paper, wrote a little note, and I know next week I'm going to get a phone call.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
And
So
you made someone feel special that way too, right? Which builds
you
once.
thought of them. You thought of them, right?
Yeah. No,
And it tells somebody you matter. You matter. I thought about you. And I think we're all looking for that right now. Even if you have a lot of family around you and friends and so on, I think people are feeling this aloneness, can't go on vacation. A lot of the things that you want to do, they're not the same, or you can't do them. So I know other people are saying the only time they get out is when they go grocery shopping. So that's a big event. But having something in the mailbox, somebody thought of you, it's a good thing.
Yeah, and totally. And I think that helps out with the isolation, right? Like, it's just,
Yeah.
I know it's easy to sort of wallow in things because this is not anything that, we've been through before. And
Yeah.
yet business, we want business to keep on keeping on. We're very community oriented people, and you want to keep that community going. So I'm looking here, I'm having issues on seeing some of the comments, but I'm still going to ask people to go ahead and put any that you have along the way, and both Lorraine and I will check back and respond accordingly then. Um, Let us know if you found that you're picking up and doing more networking online than you ever used to, and let us know. Oh, here we go. Not and let us know who is, or if you find that it's being successful. So it's like, okay, yes, I'm doing a lot more and it's definitely working for me, or I'm doing a lot more and I'm exhausted and I'm not seeing sort of the fruits of my labor. We'd love to see that.
Yeah.
And Linda says, not only does Lorraine Lane make people feel special, she's pretty special herself. And I agree. That's lovely.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And there you go, right? You make people feel special, and people want to make you feel special as well. And it's kind of almost like pay it forward type of thing, right? You can make a difference in
Exactly.
people's lives and they will return the favor too. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things most people who are small business owners are good connectors. They're aware and so on, but you're good at it, but be even better. It's like a demand to be even better. Lift it up a notch and see how you can make those connections, and paying attention to things that would mean something to people. So I know that, I'm forwarding certain information to somebody that I know will benefit from it. And being aware of who could benefit from this, who would like to know about this. Invite people to join you if there's a webinar or something that you think would benefit them. Invite other people to join you. That's a way of networking,
yeah.
right? And there's an organization that's looking for mentors for small business owners. I volunteered. Okay. That doesn't say they're going to say yes, but volunteering to help and build community, I think, is important. And just being out there with generosity and helping.
Mm-hmm.
We can't always help with dollars, but we can always help with support.
Right.
And letting people know we're there for them. So I think too that making the time for people. I know there's a lot of events that are going on, like games and parties and happy hours and all those sorts of things. So you could fill your calendar with all those things that are going on, but be present at some things, because if you were never at anything, then you won't be seen. And it's very easy to forget, because I know that when people join, say, a chamber, they come to one meeting and they never show up again, people forget about them. So it'll be the same thing in this virtual world. If you show up once and never again, people will forget about you.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, so showing up even virtually is important.
Yeah, just to keep on people's radar. And you had mentioned when we were talking before that it's important to stay relevant. Can you expand on that for us?
Yeah. So to me, being relevant is like know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I do a lot of management training and development. So I have to know what's going on in this virtual world. What are the challenges for managers? What are the challenges for employees? So there's something called Zoom fatigue that people are talking about. So I'm reading about that. What does it mean? What does it really mean, Zoom fatigue? Well, our brains aren't wired to be looking at faces like this constantly. Our brains look for body language, and there's so much more to communication than just the face, right? So it's a different way of communicating, and it's very tiring. So I know that when I've been on Zoom from 7 in the morning to 8 at night, I am exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
So this is interesting to know. So just know what's going on, be aware of people who need your help. How can you help? How can you help certain things? Like children are feeling this very much, very alone, very lonely. What could you do? So if you're in a neighborhood where you could just have a car parade or a golf cart parade, I know that there's a development around us. They had a golf cart parade for the 4th of July, just to make the kids smile and laugh and participate. So stretching ourselves beyond our boundaries a little bit, and being a little more creative. So I love seeing the things that people are doing and being aware. I think it's an awareness. It's not just paying attention to the news, right?
Right.
There's that. We won't go there. And but I think it's be aware of what's current in your industry, in your business, and having those kinds of conversations. I think that's important. Because then you're a source of information, and that way you're more helpful to people.
So what I see here is we talk about be heard, be
Mhm.
seen, and how about we add always be listening,
Oh, love that. Yes.
right? Because
Mhm.
by keeping on top of things that are going to be relevant to the people that you can help, then and then also listening to what what struggles they are currently having, and for many there are struggles that they never expected that they would have. But how can you, by listening, come up with a solution or give some suggestions, or even just, like you said, just being aware of what's going on out there. When
Mhm.
something kind of comes across your desk or your phone or whatever, you kind of go, oh, wait a second. This is, like you said, this is perfect for, Annie, and this is
Mhm.
perfect for Derek, because
Mhm.
this is what they need right now. And they may not find it on their own. It may not come across their desk. So I think
Right.
that's an important part of it too.
Mhm. Yes. That's, and I think we all want to be part of a community. We all feel like we want to belong. And I think that's a way of increasing that and deepening that. And I think we need that, even though, when you say to people, how can I help you? I'm good. I'm fine. I don't,
Yeah.
I say now, I'm not going to take that for an answer.
That's good too, though. I mean, you're right. By default, I think the majority of people will say, oh, yeah, everything's fine. Everything's okay.
Yeah.
Let's just get on with whatever. But
Hmm.
sometimes asking, the thing is, once again, that comes back to that listening. You can ask, but if you're not listening, then if they don't feel heard,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So it's very cyclic there.
Hmm. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So
I thought you were going to say something else.
I think in our society, we're used to saying we can do it all ourselves, that it's not okay to ask for help. And a lot of the times we don't know what would help or what we should ask for, so the tendency, and I'll speak for myself, the tendency is I'm good, I'm okay, I'm fine, and I'm dying, right? So,
Mhm.
so I could really use some help, but I don't know how to ask. I don't know what to ask for. So I am making a resolve to offer something like, would it help you if?
Mm.
Would it help you if we spent a few minutes talking about what your challenge is? Or would it help you if I did this? And a lot of times people go, yeah, or no, but if you could do that, it would be
Right.
useful, right? So kind of priming the pump here is
Yeah.
sometimes helpful.
Yeah, it opens the doors, right? Knowing that because you're offering one thing, that
Hmm.
it's okay for them to ask something else. And I'm just going to read a message from Donna Duffy. People really appreciate when they know we're thinking about them. We often want to be on top of mind for others, and it means so much when they realize that they are top of mind on ours and our hearts. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
you can feel that. I don't know. It makes you feel good inside, like that, knowing that other people are out there thinking about you and wanting to support you.
Hmm.
It's just so powerful. Like it's
Yes.
just, and it doesn't have to be that, oh, we're going to do business together per se, but supporting each other helps you with your business too. Even just knowing that you've got that cheerleading squad behind you, right? To kind of like push you
Exactly.
into action, right? So,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So the attitude of lifting other people up will also lift you. And the purpose isn't, oh, if I do this for you, you're going to buy my product, or,
right.
no, that's not the intention. It will come
Yeah.
in ways that you don't ever expect.
Right? I know. It's a lot of times the people that you're networking with are not going to be, they might turn into awesome friends. They may not become, business partners at all, but at the same time, as they get to know you and they know your heart and they know how authentic you are and they know the services and so forth that you provide, they're going to introduce you to somebody else that they run into that needs you, right? So
Right.
you always
Right.
got to be aware of, that power um,
Hmm.
of that networking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So What's another practice that you can share with our audience to stay relevant and build their network?
So I think making social media your friend, you know, as much as I say I'm going to, you know, take a vacation from Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever, I think we need to use those tools and see them as tools. And if you can support someone on social media and so on without getting into the, you know, other stuff, then make social media your friend. And reaching out to people in a way that is okay, and not assuming, like sending people emails and getting them on your email list without permission. We all know those rules, and those rules still apply. So I think that's an important thing to keep in mind. And I think just seeing how you're spending your time, you know, and what is the return on your investment. I'm very big on asking that question. So when people say, you know, I'm up to here, I don't have any time to do anything, I want to know how you're spending your time. So if you're scrolling through Facebook for 4 hours a day, then we're going to have a different conversation. You know, so why do you have nothing else to do? And if you have nothing else to do, then maybe we need to think about other ways that you can network and be visible in the community. Volunteering your time maybe, or something like that. So I think keeping in mind the rules of engagement. You know, there's a process. So you go to a networking event, people don't know you, you don't start asking for referrals because they don't know you, they're not going to send you referrals. There's a process. You have to earn the referrals. So, you know, those rules are still in place. Right. In my book.
Yeah.
So first time I met you, I'm not going to send you one of my clients because I don't know you. I don't know how you work. Those rules are still in effect. So we need to honor that. We need to still honor that. And I think some of that is getting a little squishy with some things. I'm getting emails from people I don't know. And just because I belong to an organization, flooding me with emails and so on. First of all, I don't have time, and then I feel guilty not responding. But I think we need to ask permission and not just flood people's inbox because we're trying to build our network. Have a strategy, and I emphasize that a lot. If you don't have a strategy, you're just kind of throwing stuff around, and it's not going to work for you. And it doesn't work for the people that you're doing that to.
Well, having a strategy just, you know, is good because you can follow that path as well. You kind of know what your next steps would be. I mean, obviously everything will change maybe a little bit each time, right? Because you want to adjust it according to, you know, the relationship you have or the topic that you want to address. But at the same time, yeah, having that strategy is really important. And I know that, you know, you recently joined Women Speakers Association as a global business connector, and, you know, you're building that community in your area through those connections too, right?
Yes. So I'm had this vision of building a women's network community for years. And on my own, I had this much success. And now with the backing of Women Speakers Association, I feel just really empowered to do that and reach out to women and build a solid, great community in Tampa. I'm just getting started. So if there are women that are listening here and they want to know what it's about, please reach out to me. I'm excited about it. And I really feel that women need to be heard in a way that makes a difference. that builds community, that helps us to get past some of the things that have held women back. And I have my own story, and every woman has, and every person has their own story. But I think coming together, there's strength and power together. And that's what I'm looking to build here. So I'm excited about doing that.
Yeah, I'm excited for you and watching you soar with this and just being able to impact and support more women entrepreneurs and business women and corporate, because you concentrate more with corporate type people.
I am. I've just published a book. The ink is still wet on the hiring process. The title is Get It Right, because in corporate, I worked with a lot of managers who hired the wrong person because they didn't pay attention to a lot of the process. And I did that myself, and I went through a year of hell. So I know from experience. So yes, working with corporate women and looking at how women need to learn how to speak up and stand up for themselves in the corporate arena, which is not always easy. And I do have a fondness for women entrepreneurs, because after all, I am one.
Yeah, there you go. And other people can learn from what you've learned along the way too, right? That's the great thing about being able to share that wisdom with others.
I know both worlds really well. And so, yeah, I can speak to it.
So if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, what is the best way? What's your best website for them to reach out to you?
So I was going to say get a hold of me with a hug, but no.
Yeah.
my website.
Oh, here we go.
No. My website is lanebc.com. So LANE, B as in business, C as in coach.com.
Perfect. And we'll put that in our comments after so that people can directly come to you. And this has been fabulous. Like I love that you touched on the fact that, we want to continue to network, that we don't want to overwhelm ourselves or the people that we're networking with, really. You want to be always listening to and watching for information that is going to be valuable. And I love the reaching out. I know that you not only are reaching out with sending cards and little, like you said, that the Dilbert and off to people, but we're doing, I know I saw on your Facebook page, you were doing like days of gratitude, or that gratitude expression, right?
I'll be starting another one on August 10th, Monday through Friday for 30 days, a networking challenge.
Oh, wow.
So watch for that, because I'm going to be publishing that tomorrow.
Perfect. Yeah. Now, where will you be publishing that, or do people?
I'll be putting it on Facebook and inviting people to go in. I have a Facebook group called Networking Ninjas.
Okay.
And so they can sign up there. We'll interact in the Facebook group, but every day for 30 days, Monday through Friday, I'll be putting up a challenge on how to deepen and broaden your networking effect.
Wonderful. We'll get you to actually maybe type that in after into the comments area as well, so people can request access. That's very cool.
Yeah. I love those challenges.
No, I think it's fabulous. I was just, like I said, I kind of been watching, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of neat. And like this networking one sounds like perfect, and it's perfect for after our talk right now. And I know that you had done a recent live event where, this isolation and then the need for networking, the need for, supporting each other and lifting people up was really a really important part of it, right?
Yes. Yeah. I'm just finishing up a program next Monday on how to do your 10-minute presentation at networking events. And so people had the experience of doing it virtually, which was not easy. So yeah, it's very different doing a 10-minute presentation virtually, because you don't have the energy of the room. You don't have the interaction with people. And I do a quarterly event with about 30 managers, and doing that kind of training virtually is a challenge. So yeah, wonderful that we have it.
Yes.
it's pulling at us to expand our skills in
Mhm.
a different way. So yeah,
Well, we're always learning, right?
yeah. Apparently we are.
No, darn it, no.
Yeah. And if we resist, then, I think resistance is futile, because we have to adapt and adjust to the world as it is for us.
Yes.
I can scream and yell as much as I want. I want it in person. Well, nobody's going to listen to me.
No. They may want it in person too, but there's nothing they can do right now. So yeah,
Right.
you're right. We have to adjust based on the circumstances sometimes, and it may not be where we want to go. But if we don't, then like you said, you are no longer being seen, you're no longer
Right.
being heard, and
Mhm.
we
We
can't
have
have
to
that
be
happen.
we have to be creative, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you see such ingenious things that have happened over the last 5, 6 months that you never would have thought of, or maybe you're like, oh, that would be cool. And now someone's actually made it happen. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. It was great to have you as our guest,
Well,
and
thank
I
you.
look forward to, well, connecting offline again.
Mhm.
Um, and if you can definitely come back and, leave any comments, and anyone that's watching, this is a replay or watching us now, you're welcome to put comments in. We'll keep an eye on things and respond. And we look forward to seeing you all next month. So thank you so much again, Lorraine. I really
Well,
appreciate
thank
it.
you. My pleasure.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone.